Good evening, everybody. It's Tim Wild, and sorry I'm a few minutes late. I just literally, as I was logging on this evening, I started receiving phone calls via FaceTime from my son's friends. So there we go. And well, happy Saturday to you all. And tonight this is the kind of session that it could go absolutely everywhere, and as you've probably noticed, I'm in the comfort of my office rather than down in the woods where I've been for my various YouTube videos and the first Facebook live that I did. And the reason for that, obviously, is because it's starting to get dark in the evenings in England, and winter is one step away and all the rest of it. No, it's early autumn, it's absolutely beautiful, but of course at 8 o'clock at night it is going to be a little bit difficult to run a Facebook session outside, which is obviously my preferred place. But so tonight it could go in absolutely any direction. It's an Ascension session. One thing I would like to do towards the second half is run through an Atlantian visualization, which is actually very powerful. The first one that I wrote was included on the second set of CDs that Diana Cooper and I did together, and that was originally called the Temple of Poseidon. And this particular one that I'm going to be doing tonight is called Temple of the Inner Sun, and it is written from my own kind of personal memories of Atlantis. So at some point during the course of the next 45 minutes, I'm going to be reading that out. It's going to be a little bit like a Sendanori sort of thing rather than Jackanory. I'm going to be sat here and I'm going to be reading the meditation out. So it's like a live meditation. But the thing about it is that I've promised various people that I speak to, clients of mine and friends of mine that I have spoken to regularly on Skype, that I would be recording this particular meditation and putting it on MP3. And as life would have it, I've never actually got round to doing so. So, I mean, this evening, if any of you have any questions, pop them up on the screen in front of me. I can actually read it tonight because I'm not outside. There's no sunshine or anything like that. But one of the questions that I've been asked a lot about recently is the subject of forgiveness and kind of, almost regarding our own humanity on this ascension process, because as this incredibly intense process that we're going through kind of amplifies, we are put in situations on a regular basis that really do challenge our kind of our self-awareness and our own kind of our attitude of our own spirituality. Really, we can, as spiritual beings, I've noticed we are very, very tough on ourselves. We have very high expectations of how we should respond to situations and how we actually deal with them, and actually, are also very, very critical of ourselves when we are being challenged and tested on the everyday path of life. Now, it's kind of, it goes without saying really that in the 5 years that I've been working kind of face to face with people, I have seen such incredible progress in people on an energetic level that it sort of like words don't really do it justice. All of us went through the cosmic moment, which was the 21st of December 2012, and we all woke up on the 22nd of December kind of like, what was all that about? Those of us that were actually really kind of focusing on the date itself, and for those of you that don't or aren't really kind of aware of what the cosmic moment means, or that particular kind of description to it, the date of the 21st December 2012 was the date that we transitioned from the third dimension into the fourth dimension. I think I probably explained kind of a little bit about this in my last Facebook Live. But from a personal point of view, like, you know, I was really geared up for this event. I was just like, right, okay, I know it's not the end of the world. That's just kind of, it was a description that's kind of quite fear-based, and people took the words of the prophets and the Mayans the wrong way. And I knew that, you know, Diana Cooper had already identified this as an exceptionally special date. Loads of us were watching it, and so literally we did this transition from one stage of energy to the other from the 21st to the 22nd of December, and that's when all the fun really started. And I, for one, that's when I started becoming involved with people and working on a one-to-one basis, kind of putting myself out there, communicating with people online, and eventually kind of stepping up and doing the Skype sessions, which I do, which out of everything that I've done is the one thing that has taught me most about human beings and this ascension process. So if you look at it from the point of view that when we stepped into the what is technically the beginning of the golden era on the 22nd of December, none of us really had any idea what we were actually in for. So the last 4 or 5, you know, it's coming up for 5 years now, all of us have been cleansing our physical, mental, emotional and our spiritual bodies, and at the same time dealing with this incredible kind of transformation of the heart chakra opening and the ego starting to kind of, you know, take a back seat instead. So, you know, one thing that I see again and again and again is people being very hard on themselves when they are being challenged, when they are being tested. And what I tend to do, if I'm doing a live talk, if I'm doing a talk in front of a group of people, or if I'm running a workshop, one of the things that I do tend to do is kind of start events off by kind of, you know, having a little bit of a breakdown of what the energies have been. Now, August was incredible. I mean, every single person I've spoken to went, oh my God, have gone like, you know, wow, thank God that's over, sort of thing. And September has started with a real thump as well, but the energies are a lot more smoother. The sun's now moved into Virgo, and we're feeling kind of a little bit more like we can deal with it. But the one thing that keeps coming up again and again is transformation, forgiveness, and, you know, how we deal with kind of this label that we've had placed upon ourselves, where we feel that we have to step up to the mark of unconditional love all the time. Now, unconditional love is I'm going to take that word. I'm going to take the word unconditional love, because it's a word that I hear constantly in social media, in spiritual circles, amongst all of the people that I speak to, and it is a term that is used to reference how angels and beings of higher light kind of basically regard us and love us without condition. I mean, unconditional love, if you turn the word backwards, it means love without condition, meaning there is no judgment on the object of your love. Meaning, you know, say for sake of example, you know, the classic example is I love you, but you could change this, or I love you, or you could change that, sort of thing. So that's the difference between the two. Now, in our position as human beings at this precise moment in time, unconditional love is way up there. And the reason for this is because we are still dealing with our egos. Okay. Now, this word, the ego, it's everywhere, isn't it? Basically, it's been running the show for quite a while, and so when we become spiritually aware, when we actually realise that we are on a pathway of self-evolvement, self-improvement, that's at the point when we start becoming very self-critical. You know, we start pointing that eye of judgment that sometimes is always pointed at the world around us, and we turn it on ourselves. So every single little foot out of place that we make becomes very difficult. And I see that all the time with people that I'm working with one-to-one on Skype and in workshops, is the fact that very little or not very often at all do we actually sit back and give ourselves a damn good pat on the back for where we have actually come to at this point in the proceedings. Now, I mean, even I find it difficult as well. I'm constantly picking holes in my own process and what we're doing and stuff like that. And I see other people doing it at all as well. So the one thing that I could say to anybody out there who's been asking me about forgiveness of others, or forgiving other people for anything, always starts with ourselves, because until we love ourselves, at least, to the degree of unconditionality that we can possibly achieve, we find that very difficult to express that level of love to other people as well. So everything kind of boils back down to us, and we are the core of that. So it's an interesting one, because when I was first kind of starting off on my pathway and really diving into this, and seeing these perfect impressions of the ascended masters and the angelics, and wondering just how long it would be before I could ever possibly kind of step up to this mark. The picture that was painted of them all was absolutely perfect, but there's some interesting stories that I've been told, and I've also had some interesting information about kind of the level of unconditional love, and the level of kind of perfection that is still achieved amongst the ranks of the ascended masters. And these are the people that we communicate with on a daily basis, or you hear about, like guys like Serapis Bey and Vuzlu and Lord Maitreya and Lord Katumi, and I love them all dearly. I work with them on a regular basis, and they've helped me massively. And it's safe to say, without any doubt whatsoever, that if you have had a lifetime on this planet, then you will have experienced a lifetime living the challenges that we have. Anybody who's lived on planet Earth has got to have been born with an ego. Now, this is the main part about it. This is where the centre of it all lies. And I was told this really funny story, and I think the source of it was Joshua David Stone. And sometimes I tell it at workshops when people are kind of like, right, well, we don't feel like we're making much progress. We feel like we're having a hard time, where are we actually getting with all of this kind of thing, like really self-critical stuff. And the story goes, and this was I for the life of me, I might remember who it was a bit later, and I might remember who told it to me, but it really resonated, and at the time I needed to hear it quite badly, actually. And prior to the I think it was the 1970s, it was around the 1970s, it was before the harmonic convergence in 1987, the Intergalactic Council were all sat round having an intergalactic council powwow about why planet Earth, why the people living in the third dimension on planet Earth were having such a terribly difficult time of rising above their challenges and rising above their karma. And because obviously from an ascended viewpoint, like, people were kind of continuously getting themselves in these patterns, these muddles, these cycles that they literally could not heave themselves out of, and so these incarnatory patterns, these karmic patterns, they were going on for lifetimes. So the council, as they were formed 30 years ago or so, they were sat around, or 40 years ago now, they were sat around and they were discussing how they could possibly make the upcoming ascension process, because this has been planned for a long time, kind of more definite and easier. And what they did is they sent 12 ascended masters who were currently in etheric down to Earth to live human lives for, I think it was roughly for about 10 or maybe even 20 years. So these were walk-ins. There were 12 walk-ins, and they all came to Earth. And they came to Earth, and their task was to leave without karma. Okay, now this is the funny part about it, or I think it's funny anyway. None of them achieved it. And some of them actually came back with significant problems. Like some of them had actually started drinking down here because once you're down here, obviously you go through the veil of amnesia. You can't actually, and you join the Earth cycle. And all of them reported back to the Intergalactic Council, and they said that is tough. That is difficult. You know, all of the people down there, they are warriors. You know, everybody who incarnates on planet Earth, they are doing the best they possibly can under the current circumstances. So come the harmonic convergence in 1987, the karmic bar was lifted. Okay, so from that point onwards, when the Atlantian energy started return, the gifts that like the violet flame and the Mahatma energy, they started returning to planet Earth. That was the point, and that decision had been made because the Intergalactic Council had been shown that planet Earth really is that challenging to live on, and they needed to kind of make things a little bit easier. So I often, when I'm hearing people that are kind of really struggling with their process, which I do quite regularly, I tell that story because when I heard it, I really needed to hear it. It made me feel absolutely fabulous because, like, oh wow, you know, it is that challenging being human. So one of the questions that I was asked was about forgiveness. How do we forgive people that have completely wronged us in whatever way? And this can be one of the most difficult and the most challenging things to let go of. And in many circumstances, my personal experience is that the forgiveness, it begins with opening our heart as wide as we can, but the self-love has to be there in the first place. We've had to have got to a point in our process where we have started to love ourselves on a daily basis so that we can start actually placing that love from the centres of our hearts to other people. Now, one thing that we do as light workers is we pride ourselves in our abilities to do our jobs properly and our abilities to love, which is, you know, that's the core of our process, isn't it? At the end of the day, we are opening our hearts. It's the first chakra to open when we start this process. The heart center opens, you know, our lovely white expanded heart centers. And from that point onwards, everything else starts kind of working outwards. So it's the process of forgiveness. What I always say to people is, you know, working yourself, like, you know, being a light worker isn't about being a doormat either. That's another thing that I've encountered a great deal, is people kind of taking stuff that they shouldn't really be dealing with or shouldn't have to take on a regular basis because they're believing so intensely that being spiritual is all about being so nice that you become a yes person in a lot of cases. Now, I'm probably preaching to the converted a little bit here, because most of the people that I've encountered recently have they've done that lesson. They've kind of been through it. We've all learned to kind of say no lovingly, which is it was a biggie for me as well at the time. So, I mean, if you've got any questions while I'm talking here before I get into the visualization, please flick them up on the screen. I'm very, very happy to kind of dive into a question or two before we get going. So this is the open-ended session. I was told that the session would kind of turn into whatever it needed to. So, but just focusing generally on what's been going on the Ascension, on roundabout on the Ascension process recently. So yeah, happy days really. In England, the children are going back to school this week, so things are going to sort of, like, you know, particularly in the UK, I think there's going to be a lot of spiritual parents that are going to be feeling like they're getting a little bit more time for themselves. August was very much about everybody's on holiday, everybody's kind of making the most of whatever they can, and there's a lot of pressure if you've got everybody around you simultaneously at the same time. Now, I'm very happily off to Finland next Friday. I'm going over to stay with Ulla, who is very, very graciously hosting me for the weekend with the Diana Cooper Foundation School. So I'm really looking forward to that. But this week I'm going to be spending some time getting my energy back together and everything, because I think August, particularly with the Lionsgate and that eclipse, brought everything that needed to be brought to the surface for a, you know, for us to particularly deal with for a couple of weeks. And another thing that I saw quite a regular occurrence of, now I'll never usually kind of dip into it too much, but I've seen kind of a very concerted effort from the forces on this planet that would very much like this ascension process not to happen. I've seen them really kind of revving things up a little bit, to say the least. People on a regular basis are having their ability to hold their light challenged. Now, this can come in any form. This can come in the form where you are actually receiving kind of direct contact from entities or anything that kind of gets in your space, or just simply interactions with other people, fellow human beings, becoming very, very challenging and very, very difficult. Now, this, as I explained in my last go live, is because of this amplification of the heart opening process. And obviously when the heart opening process has kind of reached a pitch on this planet, which it has worldwide now, then all of the ecosystems kind of go into a state of turmoil. So we're really seeing this process move into the next phase now. So I'm just going to take a drink very quickly. This is a magical blue bottle that I had the last time as well. So yeah, we're seeing everybody on Earth kind of, and a lot of them are still very unaware of it, now being completely, you know, shaken up like a can of Coke. I always liken the process to actually taking a can of Coke and shaking it and shaking and shaking it, banging it on a solid surface, and eventually you take the ring pull off. That's where a lot of people are. There's two soul groups that have woken up already, okay? There's the way shower, or the soul group that's known as the way showers, that have woken up. And you know, they've been awake for as long as you can remember, sort of thing, 1960s, 1970s, or even before that. And I fall into that group as well, because I was awake, you know, long before I was ready to be awake as a child, kind of thing. And that was the kind of the soul group that had all of it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. We had lots and lots and lots of time to find our feet. We had lots of time to find out what it was we were interested in, whether it was Reiki, whether it was crystals, whether it was any aspect of the spiritual kind of journey that attracted us at that particular time. We had a nice long period of grace to kind of find our feet and get into what we wanted to get into. Now, that kind of accumulated into another soul group waking up just after the cosmic moment. And I call that soul group the Sentinel soul group. Now, they woke up, bang, like that, almost a little bit like going out for a really good night on the town and then kind of waking up in a field the next day, and then somebody takes the bag off your head and the whole world around you has completely changed. And I'm sure some of you listening to this, or some of you that will listen to this a little bit later on, will actually be able to relate to that, because one of the most amazing things that I've seen with this second soul group, and you know who I'm talking about, those of you out there, this second soul group are the ones that literally have gone 0 to 60 in a very, very short space of time. And I've seen evidence of this as well. I mean, I've worked a long time to get the knowledge and the kind of level of pinpoint focus that I have got. You know, we've all done our time. We all kind of put the hours in. We put the effort in. And all of a sudden, there's a soul group that's waking up, and almost overnight, they've got the same level of awareness as the people that have been working for a very, very long time on actually forging their spiritual pathways. And some of these people are either kind of just kind of embracing it, going, yeah, magic, get me out there, kind of thing, or they're like, wow, okay, I need help, I need guidance, I need steering in the right direction. There's kind of a little bit of a balance, and I've seen both sides of it. But you know, in some ways, you know, there's a slight bit of spiritual envy going on there, because, you know, you get more time to kind of just live this unaware bubble life, and then all of a sudden, bang, everything it goes open. Because we all know that when you wake up spiritually, there is no going back. There's no kind of putting the blinkers back on and going back to sleep and, oh right, yeah, okay, I'm not aware of that anymore. That's just not an option in the slightest. So there's that is the Sentinel Soul Group. That is the soul group that I was very privileged to see start working with. And believe it or not, I first started seeing evidence of that when I was running my online crystalline codes course, and there was a chap from the USA who just basically rolled up to do this advanced crystalline codes course, which is a chakra activation using symbols that I've retrieved from my lifetimes in Atlantis. And upon kind of doing the little introduction, he basically said, I've not been awake for very long at all. I just literally saw this and I had to do it. And so that was my first indication that people were waking up, and their level of awareness was just taking them into their pathway straight away. Now the third group, I haven't really applied a name for, really. It's that wake up is ongoing at the moment. This is the soul group that is of course, all of this is planned. Their soul and they have agreed to wake up at this time completely. They are the ones that are literally kind of being forced awake by the level of the vibration that this planet is involved with at the moment. I mean, every single day that we are here, the vibration on Earth rises. There is no relent, there is no let up. It is rising, and human beings in our beautiful form, we are all keeping step with it. The animals, the bird kingdom, the insects, the plants, all of that have simply because, I think I explained this in the last one as well, simply because of their lack of ego, that lack of that barrier, the ego barrier, they have already stepped into their fifth dimensional vibration. So, you know, you can see it when you communicate with an animal, when you communicate with a tree or a plant, or if you just take the time to look deeply at their vibration, you can see that it has changed. I mean, some of you might have got kind of used to this additional vibration now, but when it first happened, it was almost like looking at a HD telly. It was like all of a sudden the colours were just bang, and when I was looking into the eyes of various animals that I encountered, I could see this incredible kind of raising of vibration, this raising of consciousness. And this is happening around the world. This is worldwide. But this third group of souls that we've got waking up at the moment, these are the ones who are literally kind of being, they've been pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed by this vibration to the point where they are now acknowledging, whether it's by hook or by crook, this incredibly high special vibration that they've now got within them. And it's a slow wake up process, or it's a fast wake up process, depending on their level of resistance. So if you've got brothers and sisters, and brothers and sisters I mean by people, you know, just everybody around you, who are around you at the moment, who you can see are in need of guidance, that's where we start stepping up. You know, it's not a soapboxing, it's not about kind of standing on your soapbox and telling somebody how to live their life, or how they should be doing this, that or the other. It's about heart guidance. It's about stepping in and leading by example. All of us, every single one of us are teachers. We've all got something to teach somebody else. So that's the most important thing to remember, is no matter how bad a day you're having, or how tough the day you're having, or how wonderful your day is, you know, you've always got something to teach somebody else. And even if it's just literally by acts of kindness, by acts of love, by just going about your business in a spiritual manner with a spiritual vibration and holding that light within your fields, that is by far the biggest and the most effective way of guiding people forward on this process at the moment. So that's kind of you know, where we are with planet Earth at the moment. And I'd just like to say a big thank you to Louise Hay. You know, I'm sure you're listening in spirit. She transitioned on the 30th, I think it was, bless her heart. And there's been a lot going on with my publishers, Hay House, recently. Obviously, sort of many of you will be aware also of Doreen Virtue sort of taking a step back from the services that she used to provide. And I think she's definitely decided that she wants to take the time for herself and have her own personal beliefs. So you know, bless you both, and thank you so much, Louise, for all of the service, because you know, your book was one of the first that I picked up when I decided that I was you know, fit enough to heal myself, and that's what I wanted to do. So it really has been it's been a roller coaster. Now, how are we doing for time? I've been talking for half an hour already, would you believe? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this meditation. Now, I'm going to be doing it off an old piece of paper that I first printed it out, so just bear with me. Those of you who are able to kind of relax and listen to this meditation, please feel free to do so kind of in whatever state that, you know, whatever state you can. If you're driving, then obviously just bear in mind that this is quite a powerful activation kind of thing. But the best part about it is I'm going to retrieve this and place it on YouTube at a later date. And this is my way of saying, so I didn't get around to doing the MP3, sorry, but here it is. So this is called Temple of the Inner Sun. This is based on my own personal memories of, it could just have been a day in my lifetimes in Atlantis, and some of you may remember this meditation, some of it may seem familiar to you, others of you may have absolutely no recollection of it whatsoever. That either is good, it doesn't matter, there's no kind of right or wrong with this. In my years of dealing with Atlantis and people's recollections of Atlantis and people who want to recall Atlantis but aren't, I've always found that we are given our memories and our appropriate lifetimes on a need to know basis. Okay, so unless we're digging very, very specifically for answers, information, if we are provided with soul memories, if we are guided in that particular direction, then that is what is appropriate at that particular time. So I'm going to read this because A, it's powerful and it will bring a lot of light into your fields, and also B, because it might well actually kind of trigger a few Atlantean memories and really kind of deeply activate that Atlantean soul blueprint that we are all using at the moment. The whole of this ascension process is being run from an Atlantean blueprint that we have already placed away for ourselves for this moment of time, and that is what we're stepping into. A lot of the work that I've done has been focused around actually kind of pinpointing that blueprint, because it actually accelerates our process so massively when we do so. It doesn't dodge the bullet, it doesn't make, you know, it doesn't take away our challenges or make everything 100% easier, but what it does do is actually give us energy, ammunition and plenty of wisdom and knowledge for our particular ascension pathway, no matter what this is. So this is a meditation or a visualization called Temple of the Inner Sun, and it takes us back to Atlantis, to the island of Poseidon, and you'll be meeting a very, very famous high priest. Some of you may have heard of him and some of you may not, but just bear with me, and just, if you can, close your eyes and relax. If not, just leave it for a later time. So this is Temple of the Inner Sun, and I'll just take a quick drink, make sure my throat's all... There's nothing worse than your throat going halfway through a meditation. So right, so if you are just preparing yourself for meditation, relax, breathe deeply, and see yourself now surrounded by pure, iridescent, golden light. And just breathe that into your lungs and feel yourselves lighting up. And with your eyes closed and focusing upon this golden light, call upon 3 higher Christed rays to illuminate you. The Christed Mahatma, the gold ray of Christ, and the Aquarian Ascension energy. And allow this to light up your entire 4-body system, your Merkaba, and your Christ consciousness matrix. And just close your eyes if you want, and just breathe this energy in. That's the Christed Mahatma, the 9th dimensional frequency Mahatma energy, the gold ray of Christ, and the Aquarian Ascension energy. Just breathe this in and allow it to light you up. And just feel this powerful light washing through every cell of your being. And continuing to brighten, just be gently aware that this 9th dimensional download is releasing any remaining density that you may have within your energetic matrix. So feel everything just releasing and floating away in golden bubbles. And be aware that bright golden dragons are joining you also, and these are solar dragons created from the fires of Helios. And they are here to take any density that you may have, anything that's come to the surface, and return it immediately to source. So invite the solar dragons, these beautiful fire dragons, and allow them to swirl into your bodies and fields, clockwise and anti-clockwise. You see the dragons moving clockwise and anti-clockwise, vortices of energy. And just hand them anything that you want to release. This is the perfect opportunity to take anything that you've got on the surface at the moment, or anything that's coming up as I'm speaking. Just hand it to the dragons now. These are 9th dimensional dragons we're working with. They're incredibly powerful. And just feel yourself relaxing very deeply as the dragons do this gentle but powerful work. And soon, with every out-breath and every in-breath, you become a chalice of complete purity. So just feel yourself pure, bright and clear. And focus on your breath now, breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. Bring your attention to the light of your heart center. See it as pure white, but mixed with radiant gold. Go right into it. Feel it expanding. Your heart is you. Just feel it expanding further and further. And as you are breathing and as you are relaxing, feel your inner vision and your reality starting to change. So in your mind's eye now, see yourself on a boat out at sea, floating gently towards a sandy shore. The boat you're on is sturdy but simple, and it is guided by a current that flows and ebbs all around you. The sun above you shines warm and brightly, the sky blue, and the water deep and crystal clear. Just take a few moments to just really feel your surroundings. In your mind's eye, just dip your hands into the sea. You'll feel it is warm like a bath. The climate here clearly Mediterranean. And just as you move gently towards the shore, see a figure dressed in bright orange standing there ready to greet you. On the front of his robe is the symbol of a golden sun. You can feel and sense yourself and see yourself moving towards him, and you can see that he is smiling. You even get the impression that he is drawing your boat towards him with the power of his mind. And your boat touches the shore gently, and the man helps you out onto the soft, warm sand. And as your feet touch the beach, you see that your body is surrounded by robes of the same design. The material is comfortable, loose-fitting, and perfect for the heat of the day. Your companion introduces himself to you as Master Vuzlu, a high priest of Golden Atlantis. As he turns to lead you up the beach, you see a bright golden flash coming from his aura. The light he emits is clearly visible. And you walk together side by side, and he welcomes you back to the island Poseida. Now Poseida, as you may know, was the home to many great priests and priestesses of the Atlantean era. And today, Vuzlu explains, you are returning to the south side of the island to experience the power of your own internal light. So just continue to walk together side by side, and after moving through some beautiful eucalyptus groves, you reach a pure white marble pathway. Now your pathway starts to wind itself gently uphill, and after a short climb you are introduced to the most incredible sight. The building in front of you is a crystal pyramid shining brightly in the sun. Golden orbs circle above the peak 444 feet in the air, reflecting light onto the top of the pyramid. The technology here is clearly greatly advanced. And just taking your breath for a moment, and then prompted by Master Vuzlu, you enter the doorway. And the inside of the pyramid is filled with lush plants and water features. And souls dressed in orange move about their various tasks, tending to different jobs. There seems to be no rush, no hurry. Everything is approached with divine reverence. And with Vuzlu by your side, you start to walk up some winding crystal stairs. And as you climb, you see that there are floors to the interior of the pyramid, each becoming smaller as you head to the top. The upper levels of the pyramid appear to be accommodation, each room looking out upon the sea or island landscape with a magnificent view. Now near the top of the pyramid is a golden walkway leading to a chamber that is directly under the apex of the four sides. You walk with Vuzlu and enter a very sacred room. Master Vuzlu explains to you that the beautiful pyramid is the temple of the inner sun, and that this room is called the Inner Light Synthesis Chamber. When you take a look around you, it is a simple room with 4 crystal sides, allowing perfect vision all around you. The Isle of Poseida, Atlantis, lies behind you, and the sea stretches out in front, the golden sun creating sparkles for as far as your eyes can see. Now Master Vuzlu invites you to be seated in the centre of the room, and you take your seat. Your chair is comfortable and very relaxed. The armrests have crystal for you to place your hand upon at the end. As you touch this crystal, as you place your hands upon it, the crystal turns to liquid, shaping around your hands with a cool flow. Now Vuzlu bids you to relax, so just bring your attention to your heart centre once again. And just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. It feels as though he could almost be placing his hand upon the centre of your chest. And as you move your focus and completely relax, you feel every cell of your body lit up with vibrating cosmic light. Now the apex of the pyramid you are in is drawing pure light codes and vibrations from faraway stellar constellations. Just become aware of the soft trickles of these codes starting to mix and merge with the cells of your body. And there are hints of all different star systems here. So just take a few moments now to tune into the beautiful blue healing light of the Pleiades and allow that to integrate with you. And the golden Christed light of Lyra. The pure white luminosity of Orion. The deep Ascension knowledge of Sirius. The technological marvels of Arcturus. The unconditional love of the ascended Andromedans. And also the higher and ascended aspects of all our own planetary systems. And most prominently, shining behind all of this beautiful light is the ninth dimensional spiritual suns, Helios and Vesta. There may be others that come to you also, others that you personally are connected with listening to this. So just be ready and open to receive this divine light. Feel all of these light codes integrating and activating the blueprint for your ascended cosmic master self. And as you relax, glowing brighter and brighter, feel the vestiges of your veils of amnesia starting to completely dissolve. And if this is prominent for you right now, just acknowledge it and allow the unicorns to assist you. Just take a few moments. If the unicorns have come to you, if you can feel their light around you, so just feel the veils of amnesia just moving away from your third eye, just returning your memories, your knowledge and your light to you. And then relaxing further and deeper into this cosmic flow of light, just become aware of the fact that all of this light is already an intricate part of your soul matrix. For connections to all corners of the multiverse have always been within you. So just feel this deepest integration and just for a few moments allowing your light to expand and transcend all boundaries of conscious reality. So take a few moments to breathe your light outwards from where you are sat to touch the hearts and the souls of anybody that needs it. And then still aware of where you are in the temple, you hear Vuzlu's voice speaking to you directly. Walking Master of Light, you have now travelled the length of your initial ascension pathway. Much has been experienced, much has been learned, and much has been achieved. You are now in a reality where you are embracing who you truly are, your ego dissolving, and your heart opening like a pure white rose. This is your choice, your journey to represent your facet of galactic light in the celebration of Earth's ascension. When you return, take this vibration, this cosmic inner light, back to your reality. For the third wave of the ascension process has truly begun. And as Vuslu finishes speaking, slowly bring your attention back to your heart centre once again. Every cell of your being glowing with the full activation of this luminescence. Lord Vuslu, Master Vuslu, greets you with a smile. And it's time to start leaving the pyramid now. And walking with Master Vuslu, you realise you have been part of an everyday activation for the priesthood of Atlantis, for light was embraced and maintained daily throughout the Golden Era. And soon after a short walk, you are back upon the beach once again. And just before you leave, Vuslu hands you a gift. Now, placing his hand upon your stellar gateway, you feel a current of his light running down through your chakra systems to feel Vuslu's light lighting up your stellar gateway, your soul star, your causal chakra, your crown, your third eye, your throat, your heart, your solar plexus, your navel, your sacral, your base, and then finally your earth star chakra below the soles of your feet, all lit up, shining, anchored and fully activated. So just take a few moments to sense and feel this, and bidding Master Vuslu thank you and farewell, return to your boat on the bright warm sea. And when you are ready, floating and grounded but glowing, just return to where you are sat and open your eyes. So there you go. Hope you all enjoyed that. That will have brought a lot of light into your field. So just take a few moments to let that integrate and just allow that to move into your four-body system. Just breathing and relaxing. And wherever you are in the world, just remember to drink plenty of water after bringing a lot of light into your fields, because that's what keeps it all flowing, that's what keeps it moving around the body, the hydration, allowing yourself to just sort of nourish your body with whatever you need to do, and just take the time to relax. And I'm going to conclude on that. I'll just for a few seconds more, if anybody who's listening has got any questions, it's like your final chance. But I don't actually know whether there's any questions coming up on the screen tonight, but there you go. And well, lovely connecting with you all. This will be available again, either on my Facebook page, Tim Wild Practical Ascension, and I'm going to do my best with my limited technological knowledge to actually get it from here onto YouTube. So just bear with me with it, and it should be available again very, very soon. Well, happy Saturday and lots of love to you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.